misinformation itself is not enough.
Dear Mr. Massa, I'm just trying to mind my own business. What's the matter? It's just another day, another black king captured. I'm about to lose my brain, stuck inside this ghetto rapture. I got a lot of smoke. If you want it, you can have it. They want a hat trick, but this is black girl magic. Ain't talking about the kind that'll make you disappear, but I'm talking about the power of the melanin within. Ain't looking for trouble, but I'ma say this one time. I put 2 dupes up if you try to touch mine. We still want justice for Samir and Trayvon. You say you don't see color, but racism ain't blind. They targeting little kids whose skin look just like mine. So I'm paranoid, it's a war zone outside. And I'm a black queen, so if you ask me to step out of my car, you gon' have to snatch me. Cause I ain't going no damn well. Had to spend my whole life living unfair. Ancestors got my back and they right here. You can never understand, it's a nightmare. Living in my black shoes by the black rules. You can keep your handshake, I don't dap coons. The white man that go nuts if he can't shoot. But you all on his side like a damn fool. Make it make sense.
We are oppressed.
Queen.
We are exploited. We are downtrodden.
Make it make
We are
sense.
denied not only civil rights, but even human rights.
Ahmadiyah.
So the only way we're going to get some of this
Ahmadiyah.
oppression and exploitation
Queen.
away from us or aside from us is come together
Queens.
against the common enemy. Who taught you to hate the texture of your
Ahmadiyah.
hair? Who taught you to hate the color of your
Ahmadiyah.
skin?
Parents, pay attention to the books, the school system, even to your little children. Lies mixed with wisdom. His skin too bright, so he was blind to the prison. My skin just right, so I collide with division. You trying to pray to God, but we tired of religion. No savior saving, we got to save our savings. We used to pay miss, how we gon' make the slave rich? But who's to blame, and tell me why you complaining? We need a team effort just to rule the nation. Like a bad relationship, missing communication. We missing moderation. They're trying to get a poison to my population. No reparations. I'm getting tired of Satan.
We are oppressed.
I'm
Queen.
getting tired of waiting.
We are downtrodden.
Queen.
We are denied not only civil rights, but even human rights.
Ahmadiyah.
It's the one and only queen of receipts, the dropping gems in these YouTube streets. The lawyer Royce, nowhere to go. Tune in for the infamous morning show, giving the news that you need to know. So don't you dare miss the wake up call. Then in the evening, I got all for y'all. Get your dose of daily vitamins. You know the queen makes it make sense. So true. Sex game, my kick, the words, my baby. Can't even only be money say. It's like an earthquake, don't call you out. Queen of constant, just get it from the bound. Such an awesome place, just a more for all.
All right. Hello, everyone. Thanks for tuning back in once again to the original Queen AhmadiyahShakur show. I'm your host, Queen AhmadiyahShakur, and this is your daily vitamins. So as you're coming in, please feel free to go ahead and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Be sure to click that notification bell and click the word all so you're notified each time the Queen Goddess goes live. Okay, so don't forget to follow me on Instagram at Dr._A_Shakur, TikTok at Dr. A Shakur, and Twitter at DGoddess27. Also, if you don't like what the queen is cooking, you already know what to do. Okay, so let's get into it and see who's in here. All right, all hell no in the house, TA. Okay, Cookie. All right, my aunt Egypt, Trisha. All right, Kimbrella Studio. I think that's what it says. Yeah, okay. Auntie Leah is in the house. 504 Nola. Nessie X is here. Carl Cook Reese. All right. AM in the house. Shout out to all of my loyal roads and everyone tuned into the Queen. And shout out to my moderators because y'all know they be putting in work. Okay. Deronda is here. All right. So that all been said, let's get into it. All right. only one Adriana is here. It's Bree to you. All right. All right, Desmond, Luna, my moderators in the house. Okay, so let's get into it. First things first, let's talk about it. Now, the other day, I did a 3 hour long live, and in that live, at least about 40 minutes to an hour of it was dedicated to me showing you video footage of other YouTubers who've called out Tisa Tales for telling lies because she is a liar who lies, and I don't know why liars lie. But also, she has been copying my content. Now, here's the thing. As I've said before, YouTubers may share each other's receipts or whatever, and it's okay if you shout them out. Some people don't mind as long as you shout them out or whatever. I don't mind as long as you shout me out. But when someone tries to take my things that I put together, specifically things that I come up with because of my critical thinking skills, and you literally try to use my same talking points, I have a problem with that. And I don't know what I ever did to Tisa Tales for her to be doing such nefarious things. At the end of the day, I don't know what I ever did to tick her off because I didn't know who this young lady was. She's a beautiful young lady, and I've told you all that. At the end of the day, I don't know what I ever did for her to just feel that she should, take my things, my work, my critical thinking skills, things that I put together and connect the dots, and then try to use it as her own. Now, I've told you all before, and you all know it for yourselves, that I have shouted her out and all of that. She's never once shouted me out, but she's used my things a myriad of times. And that's why I have called her out before, and I'll continue to do so. Because just about an hour ago, someone sent me a video where she again is copying me. Okay, I just exposed Adria English and Misha, okay, on Sunday. Actually, I exposed them like on maybe Thursday or Friday with a members only live. It was somewhere between Wednesday and Friday. Then on Saturday, me and Gavin did an interview, okay, and we pretended that we believed what she was saying, and then I took that interview and showed it to you all on Sunday, okay. I had Too Strong on here as well as Gavin, and I did the video exposing the lies even more so. With that all being said, I had part 1 and part 2 of the videos exposing her and calling out her friend Misha for not being the person wearing the Dolce & Gabbana or the D&G shirt. And I also mentioned Douglas Wigdor, who's Cassie's attorney, and all of this. So now Tisa Tales comes out an hour or so ago, and she does a video calling out the lies that I already called out, and then doing a part 1. So I guess she also has a part 2. Now I want you all to pay attention because, like I said, I don't know what I did to this young lady for her to talk about me and disparage me, to copy my content. She said I looked like a drowning rat. She said I looked like a hamster. She's called me an idiot. She said I have poor analytical skills. Okay, she's called me stupid just the other day. So I just want you all to pay attention, okay? Because before any of her little tattletales try to say that, oh, you're just going in on her, oh, you're a hater, because that's what they do when other people have called her out for lying. At the end of the day, nobody's hating on her. People are just calling her out. She needs to be held accountable. And when these bigger YouTubers who have almost 500,000 subscribers and I only have 35,000, and I'm putting in the work and doing the real research, and for her to come along and copy and use my exact same talking points. And I want you all to pay attention, beloveds, because you all know since 2020, I have been doing something called lifelines, where I give you specific points of things you need to be forewarned about. I give you advice of things we need to do, such as collecting non-perishable food items, stocking up on those things, stocking up on your water. I tell you what to do in the event that the power grid should go out. I tell you all sorts of things, and you know that I call these lifelines. One's in the chat. If you have ever heard me say these things, for those of you who've been following me, you know that I've been saying this since November of 2020. One's in the chat for anybody and everybody who's heard me talking about my lifelines, because now all of a sudden she's giving lifelines, but she doesn't call them lifelines. She calls them PSAs. I want you all to pay attention. And also, I told you guys that someone brought it to my attention quite some time ago that now she started merging social justice and Black power talking points, okay, pro-Black talking points with her celebrity gossip. Where did she get that from? From me. Okay, I was the only one ever doing that. And now all of a sudden, and if you go back and look at her old videos, her first videos, she was never doing that. but you know that I was, because if you go look at my old videos, like the clip from the 2020 video that I showed you this morning, you see that I've always been exposing things. I've always had critical thinking skills, and I've always had pro-Black talking points because I'm a whole revolutionary. Okay, you hear it in my raps and all of that. So I just want you all to pay attention. At the end of the day, I don't know what I did for this young lady to hate me so. I think that is she a plant? I just have to ask questions. Is she a plant or something? Did somebody put her up to this? I don't know. But at the end of the day, I find it all interesting that this is what she continues to do. So let's go to the first receipt of what she did. Now, this is a video that I think she did on yesterday. I'm going to share my screen. And I'm going to put an overlay up because I don't want her saying, oh, she's, hit me with a copyright strike for exposing her. Okay, now this is her right here. Now I'm going to go to the 17-minute mark until about the 18.5-minute mark, and you'll hear her saying something that you already know that I said first. Who did you hear say first that all of these people going around telling lies and spreading misinformation could be a way for Diddy to get off? Okay, I just want you all to pay attention. I'm going to keep calling out the people who use my material, and specifically her, because she's the one who disparaged me and said all these things about my looks and all that. Honey, I may not be the prettiest thing that she ever saw, but I for darn sure don't look like a drowning rat or a hamster. And I've never said anything bad about her looks. I think she's a beautiful young lady, but she just has a nasty attitude and she's ugly on the inside as far as I'm concerned.
Maybe the mentally ill people don't know what they're doing. They just want the same way when somebody was like, oh my God, I'm carrying Obama's love child. Okay, fine. But for the people giving platforms, you have to wonder why. You have to wonder why. And why now it's being amplified. Why out of all the legitimate, and when I say legitimate, that's the wrong word. Why out of all the lawsuits that have come out, the only voices that are being amplified in blogs that will take money to post anything are the ones that are like easily doing like it's not adding up. And again, this isn't about causing drama. This isn't about causing strife. That's why I'm not calling anything out by name. However, it's muddying and it's getting weird and it's getting gross. And because of all these plays with people handing their hand out, Diddy actually might go free. And let's us not forget that this is the exact play he ran for 30 years. And this is why he was allowed to go free. And I'm telling you now, he has a chip on his shoulder. And if allowed to go free now, I believe, and this is my opinion, that he will go even harder. He will be punishing. There is going to be some dark stuff, and we don't want 30 years from now being like, oh my God, who knew? Again, let's just stay woke. Let's get into this, right? Listen.
Okay. Now, I wanted you all to hear that part where she said, I'm not going to play too much because I want to get into my own commentary, but I wanted you all to hear that. And thank you all for the comments. I appreciate you guys. I love you all. Now, I wanted you to hear where she said, because of this, Diddy might go free. She literally got that for me. Now, I want you to pay attention because here's the thing. It's not really easy to pretend to be someone who's very highly intelligent and who has critical thinking skills when you're not that way. It's easy to decipher if you're using discernment. It's easy to decipher the real from the frauds because here's the thing. This lady is acting like she has all of these critical thinking skills and is coming up with all this information when in fact most of the receipts that she has come out with where things have been put together, she got that from me, okay? Except for a couple of things. She was the first one to talk about Diddy's apology, and she said something about Diddy being charged with RICO, but we all had already said he was going to get charged with RICO. Now, she in fact lied when she said the specific time that he was under the investigation. And I told you all that that's not the case because they would have sent a target letter or a subject letter to his attorneys. Okay, but we knew that eventually he's going to get hit with RICO. I said it first. I said he's going to get the same charges as R. Kelly, which was a RICO. Okay, so another thing I want to say is this. At the end of the day, Tisa does this, in my opinion, because she thinks that she can just get away with it because she is so big. And so it's up to you all to share this information, these videos that I'm doing. Okay. So now let's go to the next one. This is the one that she did about an hour ago when she was exposing Misha. Okay, I'm going to share my screen. Oh, and what I was going to say, I got off topic. What I was going to say is that it's easy to tell someone who really doesn't have critical thinking skills when they try to pretend they do. This is the same woman who said the word placate was placate. She said it about 3 or 4 times in one video. And you guys remember that because I played it for you because in that video, she was also copying my talking points. She was copying the talking points from my spiritual channel, talking about how water has memory and the frequency of water. She was saying there's studies that's done on this. She got all of that from my spiritual channel. At the end of the day, it was exactly what I said. Someone could say, well, maybe she went and researched it. No, she got it from me because a lot of the things that I teach you on my spiritual channel are things that I have come up with myself. Okay. Some of it, of course, is research. Much of it is research, but some of these things are specific to my own teachings. Let's not forget I'm a college professor. So these things are things that I come up with, my own theories and my own studies and things like that. So when someone's saying that it's easy for me to notice that they copied, that they didn't just read it from a book, okay? And I just want you all to pay attention to that. And then another thing is, if she was so smart and had such critical thinking skills, why would she be telling all these asinine lies that other YouTubers have pointed out are lies? No one's doing videos about me saying that I'm telling lies. Okay, so think about that as well. And also, further, she's the same person who's been trying for months to convince people that that fake book about Kim Porter is real. And she's been telling lies to try to prove her point. So just think about it. Is that someone who really has critical thinking skills? I don't think so. But I digress. So let's continue. I'm going to share this video. And after this, we're going to get into my receipts. Okay, as you can see the title here, now all of a sudden she's exposing people for lying. Okay. Now the title of this video, Diddy victim from viral photo revealed as fraud, tells all, part 1. So she's even doing a part 1 and part 2 like I did. I'm sorry, please pay attention. Okay, now let's get into what she said, because in this video, she literally was talking about chakras and spirituality. Where do you think she got that from? Okay, these were never her talking points before. See, when you hear me talking about spirituality, you've heard me talk about spirituality since 2020. You've always heard me talk about spirituality. It's not something I just started doing, but that's what she just started doing because she's just copying what I'm saying. Okay, and like someone said the other day, someone told me, Queen, she's trying to copy your logic. And I was like, that's exactly what she's doing. It's not about just copying the content or the receipts, but she's literally trying to copy my talking points and my thinking points. That's what I want you all to pay attention to. Okay. And that's why I'm ticked off. But I'm not going to let her get away with it because I'm going to call her out every time she does it. Okay. So I'm going to put an overlay up here and I'm going to go to 3 timestamps for you all to hear.
Hey, what's up?
Now,
Okay, here we go.
you just to confirm, you
Young woman in the tank top. And I have definitive proof on that. Out of respect for the young woman that was laying on the table with sushi, that is her story to tell. She is not that young woman on the table either. She literally came and said that she was a victim of everyone. I have proof to back up what I'm saying. Just let me cook. She says that she can't find a lawyer. She needs a lawyer. Okay? She's saying all these things implicating Roger Bond, this, that, and the third, Kamora Lee. She said Sarah Chapman wasn't pregnant. Sarah Chapman was 100% unequivocally pregnant. And I know this for a fact. Okay? Well, it can be. Listen.
Okay, now I want you all to pay attention because as I told you, if she wasn't copying my talking points, Why is it that every time I call her out, it's always something that she did after me? She never did it at the same time. It's never something that she said first. If you look at the timestamps, okay, she always does these things after I do it. And so it's not a coincidence. She's literally copying. But let's continue. Likes up, everyone, please. Like and share. Thank you in advance.
with Miss Doe arriving after they left while still in the studio. So also the fact that they said her parents, it is being said that the parents, the reason they said that is the parents also actually remember seeing a different woman's parents, remember seeing the Jane Doe in that Dolce & Gabbana tank top. So at this point, there are 4 people outside of Diddy's people that can 100% ID and testify that this woman is not Misha. While in the studio section of Daddy's house, he asked J. Doe to sit on his lap and take a picture. Identity to be kept secret while there is somebody pretending and masquerading to be her, spreading misinformation. Maybe they can't, again, I want to be fair. Maybe there's mental illness going on. Maybe she's mixing up what happened with her and other people with the story she read about this young woman. Because there is some trauma that took place.
Now, remember, didn't I say that maybe she had mental health issues? But let's continue.
Something happened. My goal is not to say that woman is not a victim. My goal is to say that woman is not the girl that was sitting in these pictures on Diddy's lap with these photos. These weren't secret photos that were found. It wasn't proof. She literally screenshotted them from an actual legal court document that was filed quietly right after Cassie. And the reason why Douglas Wigdor and all these lawyers that know that this is not Misha has not come forward is because remember that gag order Diddy fought for? Remember that gag order Diddy fought for to make sure that nobody that's testified in front of a grand.
I'm fast forwarding a bit, guys, so we can hurry up and get through this. I'm going to go to the part where she brings up Courtney Burgess and basically implies that him and Ariel, now she even thinks the lawyer that I've been calling out for months, Ariel Mitchell Kidd, I've been saying that lady and Courtney were full of crap and the lawyer was shady and that I didn't believe either of them. Okay, please pay attention.
The Courtney Burgesses of the world, right? Who, by the way, they just letting Ariel Mitchell and them run around crazy, the whatever. If and when, or maybe if, they are exposed as lies, then everybody that believed it and everybody that looked at the casual headline be like, damn, I really believed them. So they was lying about that. And I really believed it. They were like crying. They said they had, Courtney Burgess says he had videos, blah, 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 blah. They were crying. They were this. Well, then if I believed them and they were lying, then does that mean these other people are lying? Because they were crying too. And they sounded like they were telling the truth too. So maybe everybody's lying. You know what? I don't know what to believe anymore. Maybe Diddy's not the monster. Mind you, you got everybody on Diddy's side being like holding hands, talking about some, we are the world. We are the children. We are the, literally singing Hands Across America, whatever you call it. And now Diddy is looking like, yo, he seems like a good dude. He a loving dad. He doing this, he doing that. All these victims came out and they lying, except for the fact of the victims that came out are speaking on social media platforms when the government is sitting there begging you, come forward. If you know anything, come forward. We will protect you. We will fight for you. We will make sure this man never sees the light of day. Come forward. Says all the civil attorneys. We will make you a very rich person and make sure that you have enough money that you can get the mental health you need, the access to mental health services so you can heal and move past this trauma. Come forward, please. But you're not. You're not. You're giving interviews about how you know for a fact Cassie was beat in the hallway on that video because she was trying to steal $100K. That's funny. The grand jury don't seem to know that. And neither do Diddy's lawyers, because Diddy's lawyers tried everything they could to say it was a loving relationship. You anything from Little Rod? Have you heard anything from Cassie? Have you heard anything from The
Okay,
attorneys
I'm going
Tyrone
to fast
Blackburn.
forward you guys, and I want you to pay attention when she starts talking about chakras and spirituality. I want you to pay attention because she can't even pronounce the word right. She says chakra. Please pay attention. Clearly copying the queen.
Thing that ruined her and sent her on a lifelong struggle with substance abuse. It's not disrespected and turned into some mockery that it's going to be used to help free the very man that literally forced her to file this lawsuit. That's all I'm saying. But listen. Oh gosh. Anyway, right? Listen, at the end of the day, we're entering into the age of misinformation. I showed you guys my evidence. I'm going to keep going in it. I showed you guys my evidence. My goal is not to dissuade those that don't want to be dissuaded. Time reveals everything. I have said that if you guys have been following my channel from the beginning, I have been eerily right months in advance about what was going to happen to Diddy, what was going to happen with the grand jury indictment, whether there was a grand jury going to be convened, what was going to happen with the grand jury, what his charges were going to be. I still double down on what the superseding charges are going to be.
Now I want you all to pay attention because I was the first one who said something about a superseding indictment and all of that. I was the first one who said something about a superseding indictment. I want you all to pay attention. I was the first one who talked about the jury being impaneled. If she was so smart, why did she say the grand jury was convened? A grand jury being impaneled and a grand jury being convened are two different things. Now, if you go back, you'll see that when I was posting about it being impaneled, she said it was convened. It's two different things. That's for number one. So she's not as smart as she thinks she is. And a lot of that stuff that she's pointing out now saying that she said it, well, she did say it after I said it. Like I told you, the only thing she said before I did was Diddy's apology. And she said that she got that from an insider, which she likely did. Because she was like, so maybe I do have an insider, or maybe I'm just a good guesser. But she said that she had an insider. So please pay attention. It's not like she's just figuring this stuff out, okay? Please pay attention.
I told you guys about the apology. I told you exactly within 17 minutes of it dropping when it was going to be made the day before. I told you what he was going to say in the apology. I told you what order he was going to say in the apology. I told you what the grand jury investigation was saying. I told you what the feds were looking for. I told you what was going to happen. I said it was going to be RICO when everybody else was like,
okay, so let me address Rudy McLeod. He says, who cares who said it first? You sound petty. It's not about who just said it first. It's about someone copying my critical thinking skills. And at the end of the day, Rudy, if you don't like it, you don't have to be here, beloved. Okay, the bottom line is I'm calling out somebody who's trying to take credit for things that I put together. Do you not get that? Now, if you're a tattletale and you're upset because I'm calling out your boss or your mama, you don't have to be in here. How about I just block you? Goodbye. Now let's continue.
oh, it's just DB. I got called a liar. I got called this. I got called that. My point of saying this is that believe what you want to believe. I'm telling you what I believe to be true. And I'm giving you my evidence that I use to make up my mind. Again, the evidence is there for you. Don't believe me. If you want, go to my channel, review every single thing. You don't got to believe me. I actually don't care. I'm talking to the people that are concerned about Diddy actually getting out, and the people that are actually just thinking about like, listen, there are so many channels open for Diddy's victims to get justice. Not even justice, protection, real protection. At that level. Jeff Bezos is like, what? Since he gave him, can't say Diddy assure justice. And what's more, you will be placed with counsel. And of course, you always have an option to go for also monetary relief if you need. And again, it's not just monetary to buy a big house. I'm sure anybody that's had to go through this, you need mental health healing. If you want to pay for spiritual healing, you can go to the best spiritual healers and get your chakras all aligned, right? Diddy is in jail right now. If you know anything, you can help him stay there. You can recoup damages. You can get free psychological, spiritual help for the rest of your life. Literally.
Okay, I think we've heard enough. I think we've actually heard enough. Okay, I want y'all to pay attention. Okay, and see, here's the thing. For anybody thinking that I'm petty, well, yeah, I am petty. I've told you that plenty of times. My nickname is Petty LaBelle. And being as petty as I am, when I have time today, in which today I do, I'm going to call out people who copy my content. I don't care about somebody saying, oh, there's YouTubers who copy people's stuff all the time. I don't give a darn. If somebody doesn't mind somebody copying their stuff, that's on them. But when I sit here and do all of this research, and when I sit here and use logic to put all these things together, okay, and to figure it all out, well, I'm not going to sit here and just be quiet while someone's copying my stuff and they're getting the credit because they have 10 times the followers that I have. So if you think that's okay, that's your prerogative, but I don't. I have a problem with that. And maybe I have a problem with that because I'm petty. The main reason I have a problem with it is because this is the same person who was talking trash about me. Don't talk trash about me and then use my stuff to try to get a clout chase, to try to get clicks and views, to try to act like you're so smart when you're clearly not. Because if you were so smart, you wouldn't have to copy me or anyone else. That's what you wouldn't have to do. Okay. And if you did copy someone, you would give them the credit. That's all I'm saying. Okay. So anybody who doesn't like it, you don't have to be here. Okay. Obed Israel says, dang, she sound like you, Queen. LOL. Hell no. Exactly. Because she's mimicking me. And like I said, I challenge you to go look at any of her old videos, and you will absolutely see that she was never talking like that. She has literally stolen my entire style. And that's why I'm mad, because I am unique and original. That's why I'm the original Queen AshKur. Okay. I don't copy anyone. I don't want to be anyone other than myself. She clearly is not secure with who she is. So she has to copy me. That's just what it is. And thank you for saying that she sounds like me. Yes, because she's trying to. Okay. So please pay attention. All right. So when somebody comes to her talking about, oh, you being petty. Yeah, I am being petty. But that doesn't negate the fact that she's copying my stuff. And let's not forget how she started doing all these other things that I won't even get into right now that I've pointed out to you guys before. Started doing a whole bunch of other things that I, in fact, do. Okay. Like calling people out, putting their comments on the screen and all of that, PowerPoints, all of these things. And her PowerPoints are not even real PowerPoints. It's just her showing a bunch of pictures on the screen, and she calls it PowerPoints. But the point is, she's tried to copy everything that I absolutely do. And I have a problem with that. And I will continue to call her out. So whoever is mad, you can go cry 2 tears in a bucket, because I really don't care. Okay. And you don't have to follow my channel. Go follow hers. Okay. Go follow hers. But just remember that she's the person who mixes lies with truth. Okay. That's what she does. She mixes lies with the truth. And she sounds convincing, especially when she's using the talking points of a truth speaker like myself. Okay. So now with that being said, let's get into this with Brittany Murphy and Diddy and Ashton Kutcher. Okay, let's get into it. And let me just shout out Sloan, YouTuber Sloan, because Sloan says that baby oil, if you consume it, it can cause pneumonia. Now, I did not know that. I had not researched it. Okay. I had not researched it, but shout out to him, because after he said that, I went and did the research, and he's absolutely right. Okay. So we're going to get into it because I have the autopsy reports and all of that. For anyone not sure, and what made me decide to talk about this is because there's people all over TikTok talking about this. Okay. And I was on Too Strong's channel the other day. We did a video together. And so when I was talking to him, he asked me about Brittany Murphy and how she was connected to Diddy. And I literally realized right then and there in real time, I was like, oh my goodness, through Ashton Kutcher, because Brittany used to date Ashton Kutcher, and Ashton's been friends with Diddy for like 20 plus years. Okay. Or he was, until all this stuff happened. And then Diddy got exposed. Now Ashton's trying to distance himself from Diddy. But I told you all before that Ashton has been known to hang around predators, like his good friend Danny Masterson, who's now serving a 30-year bid, okay, for 2 counts of rape, I do believe. And also him and his wife, Mila Kunis wrote letters to the judge asking the judge for leniency. Now, I'm sorry. I know that's your friend, but if your friend is convicted of doing these things, what about the victims? Because Ashton supposedly had an organization where he went to where they tried to find children who were missing and trafficked. So if you're supposed to be someone for social justice, Ashton, why are you sitting here asking a judge to be lenient on someone who's a whole predator and has been convicted of being so? What about his victims? Okay, is this selective outrage? I have several questions for Ashton Kutcher. So, with that all being said, let's talk about it because it's all very interesting to find. Well, before I get into that, I'm getting ahead of myself. Before I get into that, let's talk about these new legal documents from Diddy's team. I'm going to share my screen. It's just 3 pages, so this won't take long to cover, but I'm going to share my screen and we're going to go over this real quick. And it's a whole lot of stuff redacted. Okay, likes up, everyone. Please like and share. Thank you in advance, beloveds. And then after I do this, go over these documents, we'll have a word from my sponsor and then get into it. Okay. Now, this is from Agnafilo, Diddy's attorney. This came out today, November the 26th. Okay, dear Judge Subramanian, this short letter is in response to the government's letter of yesterday, docket 86, and updates the court on one issue discussed at Friday's conference. Following Friday's conference, the defense located, and you can see all of that's blacked out. Now, this is an important safety measure that better ensures the safety of Mr. Combs, the security detail, and others. We have attached several photographs taken on November 25th of 2024 of the building. This is likely a picture that they blacked out, okay, because these documents are public. So a security professional is coming to the location on the morning of November the 26th of 2024 to assess the location. Now, mind you, this is likely the place where they're saying they're going to put Diddy to stay at because the judge wasn't going for it when they were talking about letting him stay in Miami. Okay, at One Star Island, the judge was like, no. And of course, that's not a good idea. First of all, it's out of state and the court is in the Southern District of New York. So quite frankly, the judge would want him in New York. That's for number one. But let's not forget where he lives in Miami, there's a port not too far from there. Okay. So a security professional is coming to the location on the morning of November 26th of 2024 to assess the location, including the placing of cameras and other security measures. We have also spoken with pretrial services, which indicated that in the event Mr. Combs is granted release on conditions, it would want to inspect the location prior to Mr. Combs residing there. In regard to the concerns raised by the government, the stringent measures laid out in our bail proposal include, as the court will recall, that Mr. Combs will not have access to a cell phone. Rather, the cell phone will be in the exclusive possession of the security detail, which will keep a written log of all incoming and outgoing calls, text messages, etc. Accordingly, all such communications will be maintained both in a written log and within the phone itself. Now, without getting into the merits of the government's various allegations, these conditions address them all, while also ensuring that Mr. Combs has full access to his counsel to prepare for trial and to defend the over 30 lawsuits in which he is a defendant. We thank the court for the time and attention to this it has devoted to our application. Okay, so it has Mark Agnafilo, Anthony Rico, Alexandra Shapiro, and Ana Estavallo, all listed on here. So this basically shows that in fact, they have gotten a place secured for Diddy to stay at. They had spoken about possibly getting an apartment, okay, in New York, and so I guess that's what they've gotten. And so now they're trying to make sure the judge understands that they're willing to comply, that they're working and getting everything together, that it's going to be safe and all of this. Well, we'll see what the judge says, because if you ask me, Diddy needs to stay in jail right where he is. Okay, he needs to stay in jail right where he is. But like I told you guys weeks ago, the feds doing all of these, making all of these mistakes and all of these hiccups and all this stuff that I think they were absolutely doing on purpose. Okay, I find it all suspicious and interesting. They're not that stupid as I told you. They have plenty of sense for them to still be allegedly leaking information to the New York Post, as the New York Post, they reported after even the gag order was filed for, and even though the judge turned it down, he did warn the feds not to be putting information out there, those that were working on the case or closely related to the case. And so I just find it all really interesting. Luna says, Queen always gives credit where credit is due. Thank you, beloved. Absolutely, because that's all a part of journalistic integrity. And because, like T. Cope says, cite the source, basic research technique. Exactly. You see, that's something that I teach my students, okay? That you cite the source, you give references, okay? When I shout out people that I get something from, an idea, whatever, a receipt, whatever, I shout them out because that's just the right thing to do. It's the ethical thing to do. You don't look like a whole thief and a liar and all of that. But also, you know, they kick you out of college for doing things like that. It's called plagiarism. Please pay attention, okay? And people who don't want to give people credit when you're using their talking points, their receipts, or anything else, well, those are just thieves who don't have, you know, that much sense. And so they want to get their clout off of other people. That's just how I see it. Now let's continue because we're going to talk about this Brittany Murphy story. Okay, so likes up, everyone, please like and share. Thank you in advance. So as I was telling you guys, Brittany Murphy died under very suspicious circumstances. Okay, and I do have the autopsy report, like I said, because you guys know that I ordered Kim Porter's autopsy report as well. Okay, with that all been said, let's talk about it because her and her husband both died by the same cause. Brittany Murphy and husband Simon Monjack died of similar causes. Okay, so July the 28th of 2010, the eerily similar deaths of Brittany Murphy and her husband Simon Monjack, a mere 6 months apart, are unusual, but not mold related, says Los Angeles County Assistant Chief Coroner Ed Winter. Now, why is that important? Because let's not forget, Ed Winter also did the autopsy, or he started the autopsy for Kim Porter. And then he was taken off of it with no good explanation. They put someone else on the case. But let's not forget that Ed Winter said that Kim's autopsy was problematic, that he needed to do more research or do more investigation because there was toxins involved. Okay. And then they come out with this new coroner that they got, and he says she died from lobar pneumonia, which she may have, but what were the toxins that Dr. Ed Winter was talking about? And now he's deceased because remember, as I told you, when the family and friends started saying that they wanted her case, Kim's case, reopened, okay, Dr. Ed Winter turns up dead. Now, mind you, he was like 72 years old, but I just thought the timing of it was kind of suspicious. Now, rumors flew early this week. And this is from July of 2010, this article, okay? So rumors flew earlier this week after a TMZ report suggested that toxic mold in the celebrity's house was to blame for their twin cases of severe anemia and fatal pneumonia. But though the house may have mold, autopsies show that it was not a factor in their death. Now, by the fact that TMZ came out and said that it was toxic mold, they alleged that it was toxic mold, to me, that's them trying to paint a narrative, okay? Because are they coroners? What do they know about, scientific research or anything about finding out how somebody died, the cause of death? Okay, why would they just come out and say that? I have several questions for TMZ. And in the past, I felt it was, in my opinion, that they have absolutely painted narratives in certain cases, like with the case of Isaac Cappy. When Isaac Cappy started exposing things, then TMZ, Harvey Levin specifically, came out and started saying that he was crazy. I'm paraphrasing, but he said something along those lines as if Isaac Cappy didn't know what he was talking about. And I didn't appreciate that because, as I told you all, I knew Isaac Cappy and spoke to him. And at the end of the day, the bottom line is Harvey a psychologist or a psychiatrist? How did he know if this man had mental health issues? Where did he get that from? And why would he just say that? It seemed like he was just trying to paint a narrative. Okay. So nonetheless, Winter says the house has been reported to the Department of Health as a precaution, considering that 2 people died of respiratory illness in the same residence within a few months of each other. They say it is unusual to have two people die of similar circumstances with pneumonia. We've been looking at it and saying something isn't right. I'm not saying you can't get pneumonia from mold, but we did all the tests on it. Mold did not come up in the toxicology reports, he says. Now, there had been suspicions of mold in the house last fall due to a persistent leak, but a full house inspection ordered by Monjack in October came back as mold-free. Simon told Sharon and Brittany that there was no mold danger and that they could remain in the house. This is what family spokesperson Roger Neal said at the time. Now, in fact, Simon Monjack insisted on hiring an attorney and filed a lawsuit against the builder and subcontractors due to the inferior products used in the building that may have caused the leak. Having not seen the report herself last fall, Sharon Murphy is currently having that report interpreted for her to verify that it was negative for mold, according to Neil, and she will be able to have further investigation. Okay, so now don't you all find that very suspicious? Okay, don't you find that very suspicious? Because I definitely do. Now, here's the thing. This article talks about, and this came out in June of 2023, a dark history behind Brittany Murphy's home, plus what happened to it after she died. So on December the 20th of 2009, Brittany Murphy died in her Hollywood Hills home at age 32. 5 months later, her husband, Simon Monjack, was also found dead on the property. Since then, mysteries have continued to surround their deaths, and their former home has become a key player in the confounding story. Okay, from reports of haunted encounters to speculations that something else within the home may have caused the couple's deaths. Here's everything to know about Brittany's home. Brittany, whose life and sudden death were explored on the 2021 Max docuseries titled What Happened, Brittany Murphy, moved into the home in 2003 after purchasing it fully furnished from Britney Spears for $3.85 million. And this is according to property records. Now, she lived in the home for just under 6 years with Simon, whom she married in May of 2007, before taking her last breath in the main bathroom on one fatal morning in December of 2009. Now, who else lived in the home? Well, Brittany's mother, Sharon Murphy, who lived with the couple, called 911 when the clueless star collapsed at 8 a.m. after experiencing flu-like symptoms. Isn't that what it said in Kim Porter's report, in her autopsy report, that she was experiencing flu-like symptoms? Now, the Los Angeles Fire Department responded to the call, and the actress was taken to Cedars-Sinai Medical Center, where she was later pronounced dead. In February of 2010, LA County Coroner Assistant Chief Ed Winter, who died in March of 2023, concluded that Brittany's death was the result of untreated pneumonia combined with anemia and drug intoxication from prescription and over-the-counter medications, including painkillers and cold medicine. No illegal drugs were found in her system. There was speculation that the couple's deaths could have been related to mold in the home, but that theory was later dismissed by medical examiners in the office of 2010. However, Simon's mother, Linda Monjack, continued to fuel this theory when she told the Daily Mail in 2013 that her son had found severe mold in the home prior to his death, saying, "All I know is that before Simon's death, he was having hallucinations about things, saying things were crawling out of his skin." Was the home haunted? Both Spears and Brittany reported that they thought there was something strange about the home. Located at Rising Glen Road atop the Sunset Strip, when they each lived there. Now, Spears, who was dating Justin Timberlake when she lived in the house, apparently claimed to have had an otherworldly encounter that led her to leave the property and never come back. They say the Toxic Singer's former makeup artist, Julianne Kay, recounted the situation on an episode of the We Need to Talk About Britney podcast in February of 2021. She says Spears had that place up on Sunset Plaza, and I'm just going to say, this is really weird. She calls me. I had my friend do Reiki healing on her, and Kay explained this on the podcast. She says he had come up. I guess she'd had a crazy partying weekend and needed to relax. He left, and she swears to God that he opened some spirit portal or something. Okay. And these bad spirits had come in and they were trying to like push her down the stairs or something crazy, she says. Kay continued to say that it was so bad that she left. She went to the Casa del Mar Hotel to stay there and never went back to the house. She goes, I know you're going to think I'm crazy, but I'm not crazy. I know what I saw. I know what I feel. Now, while Murphy never claimed to see spirits, she did seem to have a sense that something was off about the home. Okay, please pay attention. This is all so nefarious. Okay. This is also nefarious. Now, with that all being said, I'm going to have a brief word from my sponsor and then we'll get back into it. Likes up, everyone, please like and share. Thank you in advance. Don't forget to hit the like button. It doesn't cost you a thing.
Do not buy 12 Tribes on Earth hair growth oil and hair magic elixir unless you want super healthy, gorgeous hair that grows. They have a whole line of amazing hair growth products, including hair growth leave-in conditioner spray, hair growth shampoo, hair growth spray, and hair growth butter. I'm starting to sense a theme here. They include quality natural ingredients. They smell amazing, and you can see the results for yourself. So if you're looking for healthy hair growth for your natural or relaxed hair, try 12 Tribes on Earth today.
Okay, so don't forget that you can purchase 12 Tribes for your hair at Etsy.com. Just look for Lisa Crafts, and you can also find it at Walmart.com. Okay, so now let's continue. So in a January 2011 interview with The Hollywood Reporter, shortly after Murphy's death, Monjack shared that his late wife tried to avoid the home at all costs. He said she's absolutely hated the Rising Glen house. This is what he told Hollywood Reporter. Every time we would drive up to Sunset, Britt would say, please, can we stay at the Beverly Hills Hotel? I'd say, honey, you've got to be realistic. We have our house, a 10,000 square foot home. We're going to stay in it. Now, Simon told reporters that Brittany thought the property was unlucky, so he planned to move him, his wife, and mother to New York, where they intended to start a family in the next year. Simon also shared that the bathroom where Murphy ultimately died was her comfort zone in the home, and she spent hours in there reading magazines, singing to herself, writing poetry, sampling her beauty products, and looking at herself in the mirror. Now, on May 23rd of 2010, Sharon found her son-in-law unresponsive in the home. Simon, then 40, was pronounced dead after the LAFD was called to the residence for a medical emergency. People reported this at the time, or people, the publication, not people in general. Okay, so like the actress, a coroner later determined acute pneumonia and severe anemia as the causes of the screenwriter's death. So, though the infamous location became known as the site of the couple's mysterious deaths, the home has changed hands multiple times. And this is according to property records. Sharon sold the estate at a massive loss for $2.7 million in 2011 after struggling to find a buyer. I mean, because who wants to buy it after these people died in there? That's creepy enough. And then if they even knew about the so-called paranormal activity that they suspected, and including Britney Spears. So in 2013, it was torn down and underwent a multi-layer rebuild, with developers aiming to create a sprawling contemporary structure when it was sold again in 2017 for $14.53 million. The property bore no resemblance to its former incarnation. Likes up, everyone. Please don't forget to like and share. Now, according to Zillow, the new home was last sold in December 2020 for $11.59 million. It measures 9,400 square feet and has 5 bedrooms and 8.5 bathrooms. Zillow's listing described it as a as a city view masterpiece perched atop the Sunset Strip with an open floor plan, high ceilings, and rooms that open completely to outdoor lounge spaces, nearly all with unobstructed city views. Now, the main suite is 2,000 square feet and boasts 2 walk-in closets, 2 bathrooms, and a private patio. Other key features in the home include a home theater, massage room, wine cellar, infinity pool, and spa, and an elevator. Okay, so now with that all being said, does the house sound creepy or what? Because it definitely sounds creepy to me. Okay, what do you all think about this? Another thing that I want to point out is the fact that one of the family members felt like the government was probably having something to do with Brittany and Simon because they were supposedly defending some whistleblower. Hold on just a moment, beloveds. Okay, sorry, beloveds. I was talking to someone. Okay, now, so here we go. Listen. Brittany Murphy's mom says dad's conspiracy theories over actress's death are all lies. Okay, so Angelo Bertolotti, the 87-year-old reportedly estranged father of the deceased actress, submitted a hair sample for independent testing that revealed his daughter had abnormal amounts of heavy metals in her system at the time of death. Now, this led some to speculate that the star may have been poisoned. According to Radar Online, Bertolotti is also suggesting that Murphy, who was said to be convinced that she was under surveillance in the weeks prior to her death, was targeted by government rogues mistrustful of her daughter's support for Department of Homeland Security whistleblower and filmmaker journalist Julia Davis. In a statement to Fox 411 on Wednesday, and this article is from 2013. Okay, David said the raids were well documented with video in her documentary trailer last year called Terror Within, and that DHS and its agents explicitly admitted to their actions during videotaped sworn depositions and in court, and the case was also mentioned in her book and documentary. They say the raid was videotaped and the DHS did use a Black Hawk. Okay, that's a helicopter, and a special response team, according to David. He says, I was arrested and maliciously prosecuted not once but twice. All charges were dismissed with a finding of factual innocence and a court order for the government to return the proceeds. This all sounds real crazy, but Brittany Murphy's mom says it's all hogwash. Now, in an open letter penned by Sharon Murphy in The Hollywood Reporter this week, she said she raised Brittany alone and that Bertolotti only came out of the woodwork when Brittany found Hollywood success as a teen, and that both he and the Davises have told bold-faced lies in order to promote their products. Now, here's the thing. I don't know if they were telling lies or not, but at the end of the day, this all sounds very interesting. Now, is she just saying that he's lying because she doesn't like him, because she's, has animosity towards him, or does she really not believe what he's saying? Now, I am quite confident Brittany never cooperated with Julia Davis, never signed any statement in support of her, never met with her, and barely knew she existed. This is what Murphy continued, and she added that the journalist did once attempt to contact Brittany via her CAA agent, but all she got back was a letter informing her that her client knew nothing about her claims and would not meet with her. Okay, so it was her father that was saying this, not the mother. So yet Davis assured us that Murphy and her husband Simon Monjack were targeted as a result of their relationship, which was ignited when the actress refuted false claims made against Davis as part of the retaliation for her whistleblowing disclosure to the FBI. She said DHS attempted to deport Simon and that he was severely beaten and abused in custody, and that the case of alleged marriage fraud was only closed following Murphy's untimely death. But adding more confusion to the mix, a source close to the late actress and her mom told Fox 411 and backed Sharon Murphy's THR claims and referred to the conspiracy theories as ridiculous. Now, in multiple interviews, Davis and Bertolotti have vowed that their relentless pursuit in unearthing the alleged truth behind Murphy's death is to exonerate the young star from rampant rumors that she suffered from anorexia and was addicted to drugs. Bertolotti and Julia Davis are said to be working on several projects aimed to shed more light on their argument, a book titled Brit, and a documentary under a film studio. So, however, Davis and Bertolotti have since vehemently denied that they are promoting products, insisting that such a claim is outrageously false and that the book is now on the back burner as they pursue the death investigation further. Davis noted that the documentary released last year was with regards to her whistleblowing experiences and not focused on Murphy's passing. Sharon is obviously attacking me simply because of my affiliation with AJ, whom she intensely hates. Okay, that would be Brittany's father, I think. Now, we're currently working only to determine the true cause of the death of Brittany and Simon. Yeah, that's Brittany's father. So Davis's profile on whistleblowers.org, operated by the National Whistleblower Center, says that she is a terrorism immigration expert who reported improperly processed entries of 23 aliens from terrorist countries into the U.S. in 2004. The profile says that when DHS failed to act on this information, she embarrassed them by making a report to the FBI's Joint Terrorism Task Force, known as JTTF, and was then subjected to intense retaliation, including alleged attempts to discredit her and a commando-style raid on her Yucca Valley home based on a bogus claim that she had committed marriage fraud. A raid whistleblowers.org or on whistleblowers.org says they employed a Black Hawk helicopter, special response team, dozens of agents, and a U.S. Marshal. That doesn't sound crazy to me because that sounds similar to what happened to William Cooper when he was blowing the whistle, when the police came to his residence and tricked him outside, lured him outside, and then took his life. Please pay attention. And other whistleblowers. Now, according to Davis, the government settled my case against the DHS immediately before the trial, which in a legal sense means that the case was resolved in my favor. There are plenty of court records and videotape depositions to corroborate information about my case. So here's the thing. So they settled with her. So was she really just some crazed conspiracy theorist just making up stuff? Or was she really a whistleblower who had some facts and receipts? Okay, but let's continue. Now, while Bertolotti has something of a checkered past and according to court documents was convicted of a racketeering and has spent time behind bars, insisted that he was not estranged from his late daughter, as multiple reports and Sharon Murphy herself have suggested. The Office of the Los Angeles coroner determined in 2009 that Murphy, at age 32, suffered fatally from pneumonia and severe iron deficiency / anemia. A spokesperson for the Los Angeles Police Department told us that whether or not Murphy's death case is reopened is still in the hands of the coroner's office. A representative for the coroner confirmed that the contents of Bertolotti's letter will be discussed with the chief medical examiner coroner in the near future, but there are no immediate plans to reopen the inquiry. So this is another person whom a family member wanted them to reopen this case. It's all very interesting. And here's the thing. Now, we don't know if Diddy and Ashton Kutcher had anything to do with it, but it is something that makes you question question the facts of the case. We don't know if it was the government targeting her because they were going to expose something, because that's what has also been alleged for years, that Brittany Murphy and Simon were going to say some things that were going to expose some people and some information. So we don't know if it's any of that. But what we do know is that, there is a person that Kanye West spoke about, and I'm going to pull this up, that he said this person worked for the government. Okay, so here we go. I'm going to share my screen, and you all have seen this before. I've shown you this before.
Yes, Corey, CIA. Like, he didn't even have to say it. I know it. You fucking CIA. What are you talking about? Like, what the fuck? Oh, this is my godmother. This is my this. These Illuminati.
Okay, so Kanye was talking about Corey Gamble. Okay, and we know that Corey Gamble, from receipts I've shown you in the past, that he was friends with Diddy and Kim Porter. And he was at Kim Porter's house the day that she died. What was he doing there? Why was he even there? Period. I showed you all the photo of him outside of Kim's house. Okay, while the people were there, the crime scene investigators and all of that. What is he doing there? Okay, I have several questions. But so was the government involved? I don't know. But like I said, there's somebody who has been alleged to have been tied to the government. But not just that. Also, it was also rumored for years that a trainer that Simon and Brittany were dealing with, that Simon supposedly owed this trainer some money. And this trainer has also been alleged to have been working with the government, but not this government, the Canadian government. It has been alleged that this man is Canadian intelligence. So there's another tie to pay attention to. And who is this trainer? Well, I'm so glad you asked, because once again, this person is connected to Kanye. It is none other than Harley Pasternak. Remember, he threatened to institutionalize Kanye West and send him back to zombie land, and Kanye showed the receipts to verify this. Let me just share this on the screen for those of you who may have missed it. Remember these text messages that Kanye exposed that Harvey sent to him? Let me see if I can enlarge this a bit. Okay, this is what he said to Kanye. Allegedly, you see his name Harley on there. It says, I'm going to help you one of a couple ways. First, you and I sit down and have a loving and open conversation, but you don't use cuss words, and everything that is discussed is based in fact and not some crazy stuff that dumb friend of yours told you or you saw in a tweet. Second option, I have you institutionalized again, where they medicate the crap out of you and you go back to Zombieland forever. Play date with the kids just won't be the same. Now, I can't substantiate this, but as I said, it has been alleged for years that this was the person that Simon owed money to, and that maybe that's why something happened to him. Now, of course, I don't know this, but I'm just telling you what's been said. And I find it all very interesting, to say the least. So then, here's the point that YouTuber Sloan, and I'm not talking about Sloan Bella, I'm talking about a guy named Sloan. Shout out to him. But what he came up with was that baby oil can cause pneumonia if it's consumed. And I had never heard that. So I did the research, and as I told you, he's absolutely correct. Okay, so let's get into that. And then I'll show the autopsy reports for both of them. And I got multiple receipts on this. I'll just go over two. Okay, here's one from Business Insider, published in December of 2018. A mom is warning parents about the dangers of baby oil after her son swallowed it and was sent to the ER. Maybe this is why Diddy had all that baby oil. Maybe it wasn't just for the GHB, alleged GHB, but maybe this is why Diddy had it. Who knows? There's the title right there. Okay? So now here's what they say. Toddlers are often grabbing items they shouldn't have, and in some instances, this can lead to danger. This was the case for Jenna Joy Ingram, whose son was rushed to the emergency room after he got his hands on and swallowed a bit of baby oil. People first reported on the incident, noting that Ingram shared the story on Facebook. Now, Ingram explained that Grayson snagged a bottle of baby oil off the counter while her husband was showering. Although he heard Grayson cough from swallowing a small amount, the two parents didn't think too much of it. Then, when Grayson started acting lethargic and was barely able to keep his eyes open, his parents called a nurse who suggested they contact poison control. Now, that's also interesting, too. He started acting lethargic, could barely keep his eyes open. Does it also make you pass out and be unconscious, like in the case of the victims that are alleging that Diddy had them unconscious? That's something else to think about. Now, Ingram was then advised to take her son to the hospital right away, as the liquid he swallowed could harm his lungs and even become fatal. She says, we're just shocked that this isn't something many parents know about and feel like more people should know about know how dangerous an old nursery staple could be. So according to the National Capital Poison Center, baby oil falls under the hydrocarbon category. Now, these substances are slippery and easily inhaled, and if inhalation is left untreated, can lead to pneumonia or even death. In fact, hydrocarbon toxicity affects more than 30,000 Americans annually, with around 20 deaths occurring each year due to these types of substances, according to the National Institutes of Health. Do y'all hear this? This is news to me. I never would have imagined. I find it all so interesting. Okay, this is why it pays to do research. This is why it pays to do research. Please pay attention. But we'll go even further. And here's another receipt. I mean, I knew that baby oil is poison, of course. I'm sure we all did. But I didn't have any idea that it could actually cause pneumonia. Acute exogenous lipoid pneumonia presenting as spontaneous air leak following accidental baby oil aspiration. Now let's talk about it. So the practice of oil massage and oil installation into the nostrils is common in the Indian subcontinent. Accidental aspiration of baby oil may lead to significant chemical pneumonitis. This presentation may vary from subtle to severe respiratory distress, requiring intensive care management. Spontaneous air leaks are rare in acute ELP. Now, we successfully managed a 6-month-old girl presenting with mineral oil induced ELP and air leaks. However, these children require long-term follow-up as a small proportion may evolve into chronic lung disease. Okay? So, yeah, this is very interesting. This is very interesting. Luna says, Queen, I love your ring. Thank you, beloved. I appreciate you. Darius says, I never knew that about baby oil either. Right. I mean, who knew? Who knew? Gospel Great says, I didn't know it was poisonous. Well, I knew it was poisonous if you ingested it, but I sure didn't know that it could cause pneumonia. That's what I did know. And like I said, that's very interesting. Okay. And news to me. Now, with that all being said, let me pull up these autopsy reports. We'll go to Brittany's first. Okay, I'm going to share my screen. Don't forget to hit the like button, Royals. Haters, you can hit the like button too. Okay, so it says, I performed an autopsy on the body of Brittany Murphy Monjack, okay? December 21st of 2009. It says iron deficiency, anemia, multiple drug intoxication. Now, no evidence of traumatic injury, status post-collapse at home, followed by resuscitative efforts, medical records, hypochromic microcytic anemia, thrombocytopenia. This is all the same stuff that was in Kim Porter's autopsy, word for word. Hyperkalemia and hypermagnesemia. Okay, let's go down. Circumstances. This 32-year-old female has a history of diabetes and has been previously hospitalized for an episode of hypoglycemia. She had complained of shortness of breath and abdominal pain for 7 to 10 days prior to her day of death. There is no history of alcohol or drug abuse. Handling detectives report a history of mitral valve prolapse. Information from family members indicates a history of a very heavy menstrual cycle accompanied by cramps. Now, there is also an anecdotal report regarding a trip to Puerto Rico approximately 6 weeks prior, during which her mother and husband became ill, but the decedent herself did not. Current medications include, okay, they name all of her medications, and none of these were illegal. She had prescribed and over-the-counter medications, as I've already read to you. Now, the decedent complained of abdominal pain on December 20th of 2009. She went into the bathroom at approximately 7:30 and was found lying on the bathroom floor approximately 30 minutes later. Her family attempted to revive her by putting her in the shower and running the water. She also vomited prior to the arrival of paramedics. Paramedics arrived at the scene at 8:08. The decedent had no vital signs and was asystolic from 8:11 to 8:20 hours to 8:25. A ventricular fibrillation was present, but vital signs remained absent. She was described as pale and diaphoretic with fixed dilated pupils. Blood glucose at the scene was 49, and she was taken to a local hospital where blood tests revealed a severely decreased hemoglobin level and hypochromic microcytic anemia. Platelets were also severely decreased but her white cell count was within normal limits. Potassium and magnesium were elevated. Coagulation and liver function tests were also elevated. Multiple hospitals' EKGs showed changes consistent with acute myocardial infraction or infarction. Okay, she did not respond to resuscitative efforts and was pronounced dead at 10:05. Autopsy reveals there was no evidence of traumatic injury externally or internally. Okay, I'm just going to scroll down. The body is unclothed. Clothing is examined separately and consists. Okay, I'm going to skip past that. Initial incision. The body cavities are entered. Okay, I don't need to read that. That's just telling you part of the procedure that was done. Respiratory system. There is no edema of the larynx, and there are no fractures of the laryngeal cartilages. No blood or other material is present within the respiratory passages. Mucosal surfaces are intact and pale. Okay, then they talk about her lungs and all of that, how much they weigh, and so on and so forth. Now let's go to the diaphragm of her body. Because remember on the diagram, I'm sorry. Now remember on the diagram of Kim Porter's body, there were contusions and abrasions as if she had been fighting or struggling or something. I thought that was very interesting. Maybe they don't have a diagram on here. I thought they did. Let's see. Because like I'm telling you, this looks a whole lot similar, very much similar to Kim Porter's autopsy report. Here it is right here. And mind you guys, I haven't looked over this before showing it to you all right now. This is my first time seeing it because I literally grabbed these, got this stuff before I came live. Okay, so it doesn't say anything about any contusions or abrasions or anything like that. You see this right here is interesting. You see this around her waist? They had the same thing around Kim's waist in the diagram, and it said something about some sort of discoloration. And at first, with Kim's, I said, well, maybe that was the beginning stages of decomposition or something, because was that there when they got the body, or was that there, some period later when they started the autopsy? I don't know, but I find it all interesting because they have the same thing on her. Now, her body was found 30 minutes after the fact. Another thing I thought was interesting is that they basically said that Brittany Um, They basically said that Brittany had not seen a doctor, or she was supposed to be seeing a doctor. And in the same thing that I said in the case of Kim Porter, I said, well, why would it take so long for them to be able to see a doctor? You would think that the doctor could come and visit them, or that they would have a doctor on call because they had money and stuff. Like, why was there a holdup for them to be able to see a doctor? I thought that was very interesting, especially when it's something serious like that. MP says, Queen, you never disappoint. Love this. Thank you, beloved. I appreciate you. Okay. I appreciate you. Okay. So now with that all being said, let's go to her husband's autopsy report. Simon Monjack. Likes up, everyone, please like and share. Thank you in advance. Okay, so they have some things redacted on here, such as the residence. So, investigation. At 23:23 hours on May 23rd of 2010, Assistant Chief Winter reported the apparent accident versus natural death of Simon Monjack to the FSC. I deported the FSC at 23:40, arrived at the scene, okay, and completed my scene investigation. Upon my return, I phoned the decedent's mother in England. Excuse me. Okay, I'm not going to read all of this. And some of this is a little faded, so I can't see everything that it says. But I then obtained the paramedic run sheet from officers and read that at approximately 21:25 hours, LAFD engine 41 and RA 41 responded to the scene in regards to a medical aid call. When they arrived, they found the decedent supine in bed, unresponsive, and apneic, okay, or apneic. His last known alive time was reported as approximately 5 hours prior. So he had been dead for 5 hours approximately when he was found. They moved him to the floor and found no pulse and no lung sounds. An EKG found him in asystole, and paramedics subsequently pronounced the decedent's death at 21:45 hours. According to Blank, her son-in-law never recovered physically or emotionally from the death of his wife and their daughter, Brittany Murphy. Okay. So despite this, he was not suicidal, and she advised that he had been eagerly making plans with her for a coming memorial for Brittany. She advised that he had a medical history of seizures originating approximately 2.5 years ago after a fall from a ladder while photographing. Now, the seizures were grand mal in nature, and she advised that he was prescribed medication for the condition, and she believed he may have suffered a seizure approximately a week ago. He did not seek medical attention after the reported seizure. He had a cardiac condition of a leaking heart valve and had suffered a mild heart attack in 11 of 2009, November of 2009. He was scheduled to undergo a triple bypass in May of 2010. However, he had rescheduled it. He had been diagnosed with pneumonia 9 times over the past year and would take antibiotics for it. 9 times he was diagnosed with pneumonia over the past year. Y'all don't find that suspicious? How does somebody have pneumonia back to back to back 9 times within a year? That's very strange. Wouldn't you say so? Unless somebody was doing something to him to make him keep getting this pneumonia, because maybe they were trying to take him out. Now, she advised that he appeared to be suffering from pneumonia again, as he had suffered a wide range of fevers ranging from 105.8 degrees to 96 degrees and was coughing and weak over the past few days. He was using a home oxygen machine. He had fainted a few times on May the 22nd of 2010 while in bed. And however, she described this not as losing consciousness, but rather seemingly closing his eyes and becoming somewhat unresponsive on occasions. I want you all to pay attention, because now this is really making me think about this baby oil. Now this is really making me think about this baby oil. Were they putting GHB in the baby oil, or simply putting the baby oil in people's stuff sometimes, or both? Because according to this information that I've just been showing you guys, the baby oil makes people lethargic and causes them to pass out. And that's without even having anything in it. So keep that in mind. Now, despite all of these symptoms, she advised that he refused to go to the hospital or seek medical attention from his doctor. Overnight on May the 22nd of 2010, they had both been up most of the night due to his coughing, sweating, and his spitting up due to his lungs filling up with liquid. The next day, on May the 23rd of 2010, he had fallen asleep in his bed at approximately 12:30 hours, and she had stayed in a chair in the bedroom as she did not want to leave him alone while she knew he was feeling unwell. She advised that she fell asleep in the chair at some point and woke up several hours later, estimating the time as approximately 19:30 hours. Now, at that time, she heard him making a gurgling noise. She went up to him as he was lying in the bed on his back. She noted that there was liquid coming out of the side of his mouth and described it as brown. His eyes were closed and he was not responsive. However, she did not feel he was unconscious. Over the next approximate 45 minutes, she continued to stay with him, wiping the stream of brown fluid that continued emitting minutes. And she continued to stay with him. Oh, I'm sorry, I skipped over something. Wiping the stream of brown fluid that continued emitting from his mouth. To her recollection, he never woke up or spoke to her during this time. Due to the fact that he continued remaining unresponsive, she decided to call or phone 911. Okay, this is very interesting. Okay, then they go on to describe the scene. The scene is a large multi-story residence in a residential neighborhood in the Hollywood Hills. During evening hours, the home is nicely kept. The decedent's bedroom is located in the southern portion of the residence and faces the street. It is spacious and contains a large walk-in closet, 2 bathrooms, one with a steam room, and a fireplace in the center of the bedroom. There is a setting room upon entry into the room, and once past this, there is the sleeping area consisting of a large bed flanked at each side of a nightstand. There is a chest of drawers with a large TV on it across. Okay, I'm going to skip past all of that. Now it goes on to say, evidence. I collected an extensive amount of prescription medications from the decedent's bedroom and booked them as medical evidence at the FSC. Body examination. The decedent is found lying supine on a rug next to the bed covered with a white sheet. There are white cloth towels next to his head containing brown fluid on them consistent with emesis or purge. I see that he appears as a heavyset Caucasian male who appears much older than his 40 years. He has wavy brown hair, brown eyes, mustache, and is unshaven. I see no obvious scars or tattoos on his body. I find no obvious injection sites to his inner arms. He's wearing a white shirt, which has been cut down the front by paramedics, blue-white striped pants, sleep pants with a large urine stain and gray cotton briefs. There is a mouth block in his mouth for the paramedics as well as defibrillation pads on his chest. I see copious amounts of brown liquid or brown fluid on his face and in his mouth, both consistent with purge / emesis. His eyes are bloodshot. His face, neck, and across his upper chest are discolored in blotches of purplish red. I feel no obvious trauma to his head and see no obvious trauma to his face. I see no obvious trauma to the front or rear of his body. Now, at 00:30 hours, rigor mortis is not felt in his arms and jaw, neck, or however, is felt to his lower legs. It appears possible that rigor mortis was disturbed by paramedics moving and attempting to render aid to him at the same time. Liver mortis is dark to his back and blanches with easy pressure. Okay, the ambient temperature inside the room measures 68.6 degrees, and that's at 00:45 hours. Now, his liver temperature measures 100 degrees. The decedent was identified as Simon Monjack, born March the 9th of 1970. Now let's go to the diagram. Okay. So there's nothing around his waist, as you can see, like there was in the autopsy diagrams of both Kim Porter and Brittany. Okay, from the anatomic findings, the pertinent history ascribed the death to community-acquired acute bronchopneumonia. They say dilation of the left ventricle, no significant coronary artery plaques or occlusive coronary artery disease, no coronary artery anomalies, myocardial fibrosis, patchy and mild. Okay, and then it says his right kidney is absent. Maybe he donated a kidney to someone. I don't know. Left kidney is hypertrophy. And then right has peritoneal calcified cyst. History of seizures, a history of traumatic induced seizures, left dorsum of tongue with hemorrhage, focal, early autolysis of organs and soft tissue, clinical iron deficient anemia. So what's interesting is both he and Brittany not only had pneumonia, they not both only had pneumonia, but I find it interesting that they both also had anemia. Okay. This is all real interesting. So please pay attention. At the end of the day, y'all don't find this suspicious, as Dr. Umar would say. M. Penny said instead of learning how not being born in the body, they need to bring back trade classes in schools. Oh yeah, they absolutely do. But they're not going to do that because too many people started becoming entrepreneurs and not having to spend thousands of dollars going to college, beloved. That's why I think they stopped those things in school. Okay. Rogarito says cyanide elevated white blood cells anemic. Okay, so you're saying cyanide has something to do with that? Now that's interesting. I know a little bit about cyanide. For example, how to detect it, because it smells like almonds. Hold on, I'm going to look that up. Okay, so you're absolutely right, beloved. Thank you for that tidbit of information. Do we have a coroner in the house or a medical expert in here? Because that's exactly what it says. I just looked it up. It says, yes, cyanide exposure can cause changes in blood cell count. Cyanide poisoning can be difficult to diagnose with a history of exposure, but some hallmark findings include metabolic acidosis. Okay, well, that's very interesting, beloved. So thank you for that. Okay, so I just want you all to pay attention. Okay. Love Her said, wow, I didn't know that. Yeah, it smells like almonds. It absolutely does. I learned that when I was studying criminal justice. There was a person who was found deceased, and when they smelled, when they got close up to the person, because they were going to try to resuscitate them, the person's breath, or not their breath because they were dead, but their mouth smelled like almonds. And so when they told me that, because this person worked as they were not a medical examiner, but they were studying to be one. And so when they told me that, I started doing, I started doing research. And that's when I found out, that absolutely cyanide smells like almonds. Isn't that interesting? Okay, so please pay attention. So with that all being said, listen, I don't know if Diddy or Ashton had anything to do with Brittany. Okay, I don't know. Remember, all parties are presumed innocent until proven otherwise. But I do absolutely find it interesting that at the end of the day, these people all died from They all died from pneumonia. These people are all connected to Diddy. Diddy needs to stay in jail. He doesn't need a bail as far as I'm concerned. Diddy, in my opinion, is a dangerous man. Now, even if everything that people are saying about him and accusing him of isn't true, okay, as I told you, at the end of the day, I believe that most of the things that he's accused of are absolutely true. How is it that so many people connected to him died from pneumonia? Okay. And how is it that baby oil, something that was found in Diddy's house by the feds, this isn't alleged, at least 1,000+ bottles, they say. How is it that now we see that baby oil can cause pneumonia, the same thing that these people died from? Y'all don't think this is crazy? Y'all don't find this all so nefarious? Because I absolutely do. Okay, I absolutely do. And I'm going to tell you something else that's interesting. Look at this right here. Because as I told you all before, somebody likely tipped Diddy off, in my opinion, that the raids were coming that day because Diddy was already at the Opelika airport with his alleged drug mule, Brendan Paul, about to get the H up out of here. Flight risk much? Okay. And why is that so interesting? Well, because who raided Diddy? Homeland Security investigators. Homeland Security investigators raided Diddy. Remember, one of them supposedly, allegedly told a publication anonymously that the ones on the ground who conducted the raids didn't know whose residence it was until they got there because they were afraid, the higher ups were afraid that somebody would tip Diddy off. And I told you that when I spoke to my uncle, who's a retired special agent for the GBI, he also worked with INS, he also worked with Homeland Security as a case agent. He said that if it was a higher up, maybe it was the case agent. It could even have been the attorney general. Not saying that it was, just saying what could have been, according to him and the information he gave. But here's what I found interesting also. Remember when they were making allegations that perhaps the government had something to do with it? I believe it was Brittany's father. Y'all see this? The government, the whistleblower, and the Hollywood starlet. Why a new documentary blames U.S. Department of Homeland Security for Brittany Murphy's death. The Department of Homeland Security? Yeah, I find that all very interesting. I find that all very interesting. So please pay attention. With that all being said, everyone please like and share this video. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Okay. Be sure to click the notification bell and click the word all so you're notified each time the Queen Goddess goes live. And also, let me just tell you guys something. I don't know if you know this, but celebrity blogger Perez Hilton, well, about a month before, it says celebrity blogger Perez Hilton said it came as no surprise. And only a month before making this statement, he predicted that she would be the next big Hollywood death. He supposedly said that on a U.S. radio show. How did Perez Hilton know that? Okay, but that's what it says, that Perez Hilton said that a month before. In 2011, Brittany's mother, Sharon Murphy, was unhappy with the coroner's report and wanted a better explanation. She blamed the death of her daughter and son-in-law on toxic mold found in their Hollywood home. Now, here's the thing that I also found interesting. The mother of Brittany, Sharon Murphy, wanted to continue to say, even though it was alleged that there was found to have been no mold after tests were conducted, that it was negative for mold. She continued to say that it was mold. Now, she didn't want to say that maybe Homeland Security had something to do with it or anything else. Now, was she paid off? I don't know. These are just things I ask myself because I love to play, angel's advocate, not the devil's advocate. I don't do anything for Satan. But at the end of the day, was she saying this because maybe she was paid to paint that narrative? Or was she saying it because maybe if she could get people to think or prove that it was mold, then she could sue the people that built the house or sold the house for the mold being in there or whatever caused the mold? You understand what I'm saying? Because there's absolutely big lawsuits for stuff like that. So was she trying to get money? I don't know. But I find it all interesting that despite all of this other evidence, she didn't believe any of it. She continued to say it was mold, even though it was reported that it tested negative for mold. Okay. I just want you all to pay attention. So with that all being said, I'm going to conclude this broadcast. And listen, don't forget to tune in the morning for your morning wake-up call. If you missed the broadcast that I did this morning about Trump declaring himself king of Israel, please go back and watch that if you're interested in the political spectrum and the things, political theater, okay, any of that stuff. But we're going to be talking about some very interesting things in the morning as it pertains to what's going on in the political sphere. Okay, so please pay attention. With that all being said, I love you all to life. Each one teach one. That's how we grow and thrive. Do something productive, constructive, but never destructive. And always remember, beloveds, to keep the Most High first in your lives. Until next time, peace.
Yo, Nick, hit him with that flavor. Gold all in my skin, God all in my blood. Kings all in my circle, you touch one of mine and you're done. They show no love for the queen, why you hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans? I got dreams like King Luther, shed blood like Kunsa. You ain't helping my people, I ain't got nothing to say to ya. I want all the smoke like hookah. Talking reparations, America won't be great until they give us compensation. I'm like, I'm the hottest right now. See a bunch of lames out here trying to jock on my style. They be doing too much. I'm the queen, it's too easy. It's like they all at Popeyes, how they be talking so greasy. I just sit back and laugh while these haters get madder. So nefarious how they don't want my pockets with cheddar. I tell them they can do better. These snakes in the grass can leave a bite on your ass, cause y'all be trusting too fast. I got my foot on the gas, other one on they necks. Dropping receipts on haters, you better show some respect. I'm never facing regrets, we only facing the threats. Running through every challenge like a relay, break no sweat. It's a cold game, so I got that blanket with me. Now that my people awaken, ain't no going to sleep. I do not play by my piece, this time I'm playing for keeps. You talking slick, but when I see you like them ends, we gon' meet. And I got gold all in my skin, God all in my blood. Kings all in my circle, you touch one of mine and you done. They show no love for the queen, why they hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans and I got gold all in my skin, God all in my blood. Kings all in my circle, you touch one of mine and you done. They show no love for the queen, why they hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans and I got